Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Let's have a little chat. This is your host, The Occult View. And like I always say, don't take it personal. It's not personal, it's spiritual. And sometimes my videos can be a little triggering for some people, but that's okay. Either you will get it or you won't. And that's just as simple as that. Um, So let's have a little chat, a little occult chat. Because as we all know, everything ties into spirituality and the occult, even if you don't see it, because the occult is about what is hidden. And let me be clear, not a cult, the occult. OCCULT, the occult. That's hidden knowledge, hidden spiritual knowledge. And that is what I talk about. And I intertwine it with everyday life, and I find the hidden occult messages and spiritual messages in everyday life situations in culture, pop culture, Hollywood, whatever. Okay. So just wanted to give you a little bit of a reintroduction into who I am. All right. All right. So a few days ago, I made a video talking about the murder of Jordan Neely. And I had an unpolitically correct view as it pertained to Jordan Neely. And I must reiterate, in no way, shape, or form am I condoning him being murdered, or whether it was accidental or on purpose. You know, I personally believe things got out of hand on that train, but that's just my personal belief. Okay. The point that I was making is that why, as the public, why should we, as the unsuspecting public, be subjected to people and their mental illnesses when these people have been identified as potentially dangerous people, right? And a friend of mine on here, she responded to me, and I was so happy to hear that. I was so happy to hear that. So shout out to her. Thank you. I'm so glad that I knew you got it anyway. I knew you got what I was saying, you know? And she said something in her video that really, really, really made me go, wow. She said that you cannot fake it until you make it. And I said, you know what? I'm glad she said that. Nothing but spiritual wisdom. Because over there in the conscious community with them niggas, they teach people that you can fake it until you make it. That's the type of spirituality that they teach. And I'm more prone to listen to what a black woman says from spirit than I am a black man. Because a lot of black men, not all, of course, a lot of black men in that spiritual community, in that spiritual conscious community, they're all about getting what they can get. And that is what they have built their foundation on, is fake it until you make it. That is why their foundation is not sturdy. It's sturdy looking at it from the outside. But when you really stand on their foundation, there is none really there. It's not on a strong foundation. And her saying that really, really made me realize even more why they turned against me. And when she was talking about my video, she took situations that she's going through and she expressed her experiences of what she's going through from what I was saying in the video. That's spirituality. You take something, you listen to something that someone says, And if you can relate to it, you make it into your own thing. That's exactly what she did. That is real, true spirituality. That's real, true spirituality. That's not fake. Like, and she's right. Faking it until you make it. You can't fake it until you make it. You're either a spiritualist or you're not. You either have the mark on you or you don't. And I'm not talking about the mark of the beast. You are either spirited or you're not. So when I really go back and I look at those fake ass conscious niggas, I realize why that wasn't for me long term. That was for me short term, for me to observe, get what I needed to get, and to move on. It was a lesson. It wasn't a blessing. It was a lesson that turned into a blessing because I got more out of them than they will ever get out of me. I got more out of them. That's how it goes. And not because I needed them. It's just that I got what I was supposed to get and I turned it into something that was profitable for me spiritually, financially, and whatever else, but not under their foundation or doctrine, under my own. So when she said, you can't fake it until you make it, that blew me away because she's absolutely right. You cannot fake it until you make it. You're either a spirited person or a spiritualist or you're not. It's as simple as that. That's based upon your blood, your genetics, and your DNA. And as I've always said, you cannot, if you are a person of a certain light frequency, darkness cannot remain around you for a long period of time. My light was too bright, just like hers is. And those same people that she's referring to, and I know exactly who she's talking about, no names to be mentioned, those same people that she's referring to, they're all connected behind the motherfucking scenes, allegedly. Those same people that she's referring to, they are all connected behind the scenes in that conscious community. So I understand exactly what she's talking about. And that's what they do. They ice people out. They harass people. They throw people away. When their light shines brighter, they lie on you. They try to embarrass you. They try to tear you down because they are not of light. They're not of darkness either. They are of death. They are of the second death. So all of those people, the same conscious niggas that turned on me, they're connected with that same person that she's talking about. They're all connected. They're all connected, allegedly behind the scenes. So when she said that about you can't fake it until you make it, that blew me away because she's absolutely right. And the same people, the people that she's having issues with, they're connected to the people that I was cool with at one time in that conscious fucking community. They ain't shit. And people like she and I are the ones who really got to shine. See, when you got to shine, go back to The Shining. When you got the real shine, you don't have to give dress-up parties and costume parties and shit like that. Because when you are really, really born into a certain energy and frequency, you are who the fuck you are. That's why a lot of black men, that's why they don't like me. Because I outshine them. They can be smarter than me. They can be better looking than me. They can have more money than me. They can live in a bigger house than me, but I still outshine them. I still outshine them. And as you notice, I compare myself to men, other men. I don't compare myself to women. There is no comparison. You feel what I'm saying? So I just had to say that. I loved her video and how she broke down what I was talking about. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. And shit, she should get some t-shirts made. That's a good idea for her to get some t-shirts made or something and say, you cannot fake it until you make it. She should get some t-shirts made saying that and sell them and make some money. That's a good motherfucking idea. Because that's the truth. Because that's what they teach. That's what that fake conscious spiritual shit teaches. Fake it until you make it. You can't fake it until you make it. You can't. And she's absolutely right. And if you do make it by faking it, it won't last long. You can't build something real on a fake foundation. And all them motherfuckers are fake behind the scenes. They all fake. They all phony. So anyway, getting back to my what I wanted to talk about, I wanted to come back and talk about Jordan Neely again. I'm not getting into, whether it was right or whether it was wrong. It was wrong to kill him. It was wrong to kill him. He did not deserve to die, per se. I don't think he deserved to die. But I was watching The View. This is the reason I want to come back and I want to talk about this again. Because I was watching The View. And, The View is a very misguided, liberal-based show. And I was listening to all of the women talk about, the Jordan Neely case and everything that had happened to him. And Sunny Hostin had brought up some things. And sometimes I like Sunny Hostin, sometimes I don't. I'm just being honest. She's a Libra. And sometimes I like Libras and sometimes I don't. It just really depends. Because Libras will make you drag them for filth. Because they're supposed to be balanced, but a lot of them are unbalanced. But that's another damn story. Now, I get along with the men Libras. I don't really get along with the female ones too much. Some female Libras I do, but I mainly get along with the men Libras because, they real freaky and shit. That's another story, though. But she was trying to garner sympathy and compassion for him. I get it. I get it if that's the route you want to take. But she conveniently left out some things. And when she mentioned certain things, she tried to, hurry up and gloss over it. And she cherry picked the things about him that she wanted the audience to really gravitate towards. Using, neurolinguistics and all types of other, what I would call mind control or, spell work. Because, the View, that's a coven. Nothing wrong with covens, but that's a coven. So I'm listening to her talk about Jordan Neely. And I'm listening to the words that she's using. She brought up what happened that when he was when he was younger, a child, a teenager, that he watched his mother, unfortunately and tragically, he witnessed his mother be murdered. He witnessed her murder. And they were saying that ever since then, he has not been the same. Get it? I got it. And I think his mother was murdered brutally, and her body was put in a suitcase or something like that. I mean, that is very tragic and traumatic. Very tragic and traumatic. And I have compassion for that. Okay? I do. But what she did not mention when she started to go down the list and the reasons of why he was what he was, she forgot to mention that the 42 crimes or alleged crimes that he had committed, or the arrest or whatever, she forgot to mention that he broke the nose of an elderly woman who was 67 years old. He also attacked a man for no reason. He also was walking around pulling out his penis in front of women. He had frequently harassed people on the New York subway system. Okay? And not to mention, part of his probation was to go into a drug treatment program. And he left the treatment program before, and this was in February, if I'm not mistaken, before his time was up. She really did not really delve into that. So she was saying, he was on the train complaining about he doesn't have food, he doesn't have water, and his life is not going the way that he wanted it to go. And I get it. But my question remains, why is that our problem? We didn't fail him. The New York City government failed him. His family failed him. And then, some people have brought up several things. Why is it that he looks so different when he's dancing as Michael Jackson versus when they beat him when he was put in that chokehold? Why do they look like two totally different men? I thought that myself when I first saw this story. But I just didn't say anything. I said, he looks like two totally different people. But I never said anything. I just, brushed it off. But other people are bringing that up now. They're saying, this doesn't even look like the same person. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator or dancing like Michael Jackson on the subway. That should have gave people an indication that something was wrong with him then. That should have gave people an indication that something was wrong with him then. But no, it didn't. It wasn't until he started acting violent, and he had a history of being violent and acting violent towards passengers on the New York subway. So my question is, if your 67-year-old mother or grandmother or aunt was punched in the face for no reason by this person, are we supposed to say, well, he's mentally ill, it's okay? No, if that motherfucker would have did that to my mother, I probably would have harmed him as well. What do you expect the public to do? We don't know him. We don't know him. Now, again, I don't think he should have been murdered. I don't think he should have been killed. Of course not. I don't think he should have been killed. But this person had been out of control for a long time. Sonny Hostin. And it's easy for her and the other panelists who are hardcore sympathizers for these types of people. It's very easy for them to sit up there and point the finger of judgment and say, thou shalt not do this and thou shalt not do that. It is very easy for them to say that when they are millionaires and they don't have contact with average people every day. Even the people in their audience are not average people. Most of the people that sit in their audience, they choose them. Y'all didn't know that? They select, well, I shouldn't say they choose them. They go through a process of very, very strict selective, very, very restrictive selective process or process, as they say in the UK. A very selective process of choosing even the audience members. Why do you think the audience is still wearing masks and none of the panelists on The View are wearing any? Why do you think they're wearing masks? The audience, but the panelists are not. Because they choose people who are going to be compliant with whatever they say. There is no more free thinking. And that is where we go back into what I said in the previous video about not having any intellect, but only going on emotion. But not having any intellect. So they choose people in the audience who are only going to agree with everything that those panelists say. You know, back in the day, well, Wendy Williams, she was the last of her kind. She would go into the audience and ask them questions. The View don't do that. They don't ask audience members questions. Back in the day with talk shows and stuff, the host would get up and they would ask the audience, well, what do you think? Everyone was allowed to have a free thought. Do you remember that? But it's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. You have to go along with whatever they say. That is why they got rid of Meghan McCain. And they replaced her with a much weaker conservative, which is that, what's her name? Is it Abigail or Abby or whatever? I don't care for her too much. Because she doesn't challenge them. She doesn't push back. And Anna Navarro, even though she claims she's a conservative, she's really a liberal in disguise wearing a conservative mask. But she's really liberal, and I don't like her either. I don't like her energy. I don't care for her. She's supposed to be a Capricorn. Maybe that's why. I like the Cancer side of the Capricorn, but I don't care for Capricorns too much. They have nasty energy, some of them, and I don't care for them. In actuality, I think she taps more into her Aries. But that's another story. They have no one on The View that is giving them any pushback. See, Meghan McCain, they had to get rid of her because Meghan McCain pushed back. And she was authentic, whether you liked Meghan McCain or not. It's not about me liking her. Personally, I don't know her personally. I don't know none of them women personally. But Meghan McCain, she would not allow them to get away with the things they got away with. And I actually like The View more. You know, even Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and I definitely couldn't stand her. I don't like her energy. But even with Elizabeth Hasselbeck, even Rosie O'Donnell, and Rosie O'Donnell, she dragged them for filth the other day. She told the truth. And she's a liberal, but she told the truth. And I know some people say that, you know, Rosie O'Donnell was not the easiest person to get along with, and she didn't get along with the staff or whatever the case may be, but that's just how it is sometimes. And there's two sides to every story. And when you want something done right and a person is being paid to do it, then they should do it right. But they want to paint this story with Jordan Neely with one myopic, one-dimensional view. And The View is all about their view. It's not about what really happened. And what really happened was that this young man was being threatening, intimidating. He had assaulted people in the past. He assaulted a 67-year-old woman, broke her nose, walked up on her and punched her for no reason, attacked another a man. He was involved in lewd acts. He had an opportunity to get help. They did not even press charges against him. The state didn't. They put him in a rehab of some sort or some sort of program to try to help him. They didn't even put him in jail. So can we really say that, let me revise that. Can we really say that the New York system failed him? Or did his family fail him? And did he himself fail himself? He was 30 years old. There are plenty of people walking around with mental health issues who don't go around punching people in the nose, who don't go around assaulting people, who don't go around pulling out their penises in lewd acts. There are plenty of mentally ill people who don't do things like that. He had an opportunity to be in a drug treatment program that would have offset the charges he was going to face, or that might have been part of his probation. Then that way he would not have had to go to jail for assaulting people. But he chose to leave. The nigga was 30 years old. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. He was 30 years old. He left the treatment center before he was supposed to. Whose fault is that? But Sunny Hostin, she didn't really give a balanced view. She wanted to victimize him because he was ultimately murdered. But what people are not really calling into question, or not really calling into question, what people are not pointing out is that he put himself in that predicament. He put himself in that predicament. And if people are afraid, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. If people are afraid of you because of your behaviors, people are going to react in fear. And we already know that white people have an innate fear of black people, especially black men anyway. And I'm not turning this into a black and white issue. This is more of a morality issue. Do I think they should have killed him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But people have to understand that people with mental illnesses, they can harm people too. And like I said, those women on The View, they are privileged. They're rich. They have money. How many of them are taking the New York subway on a daily basis? Come on now, Sunny Hostin. It's easy to say what you would not do. It's easy to say that I would not do this and I would not do that. And I agree, there may be some implicit bias that may go along with it. He's a black man and, the racial element. Okay, I'm not going to ignore that completely. Okay, I get that. But at the end of the day, when you read his record, when you read who he is and what he has done, it's more to it than just mental illness. Some of those moves were not mental illness. Some of those, when he left that treatment center, that wasn't mental illness. That was him making a calculated decision to leave, to stop taking his medication. That was him. He decided to leave. They didn't make him leave. He left. He left. There are a lot of people who witnessed vicious crimes take place against their loved ones, their mothers, their fathers. There are a lot of people who went through that. And they're not going around punching people in the face. They're not hooked on drugs. And, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you have to have more compassion, Seer. You have to have more. But the problem with compassion, I get that. But how much compassion are we supposed to have until we say enough is enough? So you mean to tell me we're supposed to keep having compassion for people who commit violent crimes against people who are not bothering them. We're supposed to have compassion for a person who broke a woman's nose for no reason, an elderly woman's nose. Better yet, if he did that to Sonny Hostin's mom, who's an elderly woman who I believe is in her late 60s, early 70s, if he broke your mother's nose, Sonny Hostin, would you still be saying the same thing that you were saying? If someone that was mentally ill walked up on your mother and broke her nose, how would you feel about that? That's why I'm glad for once I agree with Whoopi Goldberg. Because Whoopi Goldberg was trying to bring common sense and intellect into the conversation without being labeled as someone who doesn't have compassion. How would she feel? How would Sonny Hostin feel if he did that to her elderly mother or any mentally ill person? How would she feel if that happened to her elderly mom? Your mother's out minding her business and then some weirdo comes up and punches her in the nose. I'm just looking at it from another perspective. If he was white, I would be saying the exact same thing. If he was Asian, I would be saying the exact same thing. I would be saying the exact same thing. It's not about race. It's a safety issue. And it's also how we as the unsuspecting public, we're supposed to just sit back and keep letting people like that abuse us, attack us. Are they insane on The View? Like I said, they're privileged. It's easy for them to say that. It's easy for them to say, well, we should have more compassion about stuff like that. Now, I bet you if I got into a fight with another guy and I beat his motherfucking ass and it made world news, they would say that I'm a bully because of my body size, because I'm a big guy. They would say that I'm a bully. The View. But wait a minute. What if this person that I beat up, what if he threatened to harm me? What if he pulled a knife on me? What if he threatened my family? And what if he did something to my mom? What if he did something to my brother? What if he did something to my niece or nephew? Because by their logic, if he has a mental illness, we need to have more compassion. And their definition of compassion is not having a reaction at all. You want me to take someone who is causing issues, who is bullying and intimidating people. You want me to take them and get them food and talk to them nicely and say, oh, it's okay that you're threatening to stab me. It's okay that you're threatening me. That's okay. Like that bitch that threatened me on here years ago, threatened to castrate me. That white bitch that was pretending to be a black woman. But I clocked her motherfucking tea, didn't I? I don't know if the bitch is still lurking around, but I clocked her fucking tea, didn't I? I did that motherfucking reversal motherfucking magic on that bitch, didn't I? I hunted that bitch like a predator on YouTube because she tried to make me her prey and she ended up being the prey herself. I found all of her information and I did shock and awe on that bitch. Yes, I did. I did shock and awe on that racist, fat, sloppy bitch. Yes, I did. That fat, sloppy, old, racist white bitch. Yes, I did. And don't take offense to me calling her white, because if she was black, I would have called her a black one. If she was Spanish, I would have called her a Spanish one. If she was Chinese, I would have called her a Chinese one. So don't take it personal. Okay? But according to The View, that would have been okay for her to do that, right? That would have been okay for her to do that. This liberal, and see, that's the thing. This liberal society that we live in, they set up these laws and they set up this society so people like that can fuck with people. They have set up this society. Liberals are sick motherfucking people. Liberals are sick motherfucking people, and I'm not really into no politics or anything like that. Oh shit. I'm not really into no politics or anything like that, but liberal people are sick, racist, violent, crazy people, the black ones and the white ones. They are fucked up individuals. They sit up and they support these laws that make it easier for these types of people like this Jordan Neely person to go out into the streets and fuck with people and harass people. And then they try to neutralize us and bind us in spell work and say, oh no, you can't put your hands on them, or you can't touch them, or you can't protect yourself against people like that. Same thing with online on YouTube. People like The View and that liberal fucking magic, they create this type of motherfucking ghetto, ratchet motherfucking shit. They create it, they love it, they support it, but they don't want to be around it. No, they're going to the correspondence dinners and shit like that at the White House. That's what they're doing. You know, liberals with money, they don't really want anything to do with people who don't have any money. That's their mask. That's what they tell you on paper. They tell you that on paper that they're for your average person, but they're not. They're really not. While they live in their good neighborhoods and they live in their rich neighborhoods, their gated communities, while they are gated and protected from people like Jordan Neely, they tell us and they support laws and they tell us that we have to deal with them. We have to tolerate that. You have to have compassion. You have to have sympathy. No, the fuck I don't. No, I don't. No, I do not. I do not. I'm not necessarily talking about Jordan Neely. I'm saying I don't have to have sympathy or compassion for nobody that's threatening my life or that's causing chaos in my life. No, I don't. But they tell us, oh, well, you got to have compassion for people and, you have to understand. No, I don't. I don't have to understand a motherfucking thing. I find it interesting how they hide in their gated communities and they tell everyone else what they should do. Just like when Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of them were telling people that we should accept illegal immigrants into this country. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended by what the fuck I'm saying. Because the last time I said something years ago about anything Hispanic, some motherfucking weirdo Mexican dude kept stalking me on here, but goddamn it, people think I'm Dominican, so I guess I can speak on shit like this now, because people everywhere I go now, people are asking me, am I Dominican? I don't know what that energy is, but child, please. But that's another story. And my whole thing is this: if she's so concerned about, and this is nothing against Hispanic or Mexican people, let me just say that. You know what I mean? It's nothing against you all. I'm making a point about Whoopi Goldberg and those people on that View and people that think like them. If they are so concerned about illegal immigrants that are coming in from Mexico and where else? Guatemala and all these other places. If they were so concerned about them, how come they're not opening up their homes for them? If you're so concerned about them having food, a safe place, water, if you're, and a safe place for their children to go, how come you all are not opening up your homes to them? Anna Navarro, Sonny Hostin in particular, because aren't they Latino? Aren't they Latino? Y'all sit up there and y'all talk a good game, but are they really helping the Latino community and the Mexican community? Are they really helping them? Or are they just running their mouth, telling us that we should have a certain energy about them? Because I guarantee you, if a bunch of Latinos and Mexicans showed up at their gated communities or at their homes, I guarantee you, if a bunch of those immigrants showed up at their homes, in need of water and food, because a lot of them are in need of water and food and help. A lot of them are. And let me tell you one thing about their men. Their men, they sexy too, some of them. And what really turns me on about Latino men? They work. They're manly. They work. I love them, to tell you the truth. They work. Mexican men, Latino men, I love them. They're masculine, they're manly, and they work. They'll get them construction jobs. They work. They work. And they will take care of their motherfucking woman. Even if they got 5 women on the side, they take care of their goddamn women. I'll give them that much. You know what I'm saying? And most of the ones that I do run into, they're really nice people. They're really nice guys. They doing their job. They got their little construction jobs. If I see them, like if I go to the liquor store or something, I don't drink, but if I go to the liquor store or something to pick up lottery ticket or something like that, they smile at you. They speak. They really cool people. Some of them, they're really cool people. You know what I mean? And my question is, if they feel that strongly, what are they doing on The View? Because they're always talking about how illegal immigrants are not being treated right. They're always talking about what we should be doing and how people should feel. But my question is, they are in a position to help them more than we are. What are they doing to help them? Are they taking any of them in to their gated communities up in Connecticut? Whoopee? Are you inviting any of them in your home? Fuck no. Are you offering to adopt any of their, not adopt, but are you offering to help any of their children? Fuck no. Not in a way that's going to really help them. But you're telling us that we have to tolerate, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but they're telling us that we have to tolerate everything. We have to tolerate people's mental illnesses that we don't know. We have to tolerate them beating up old women. We have to tolerate them attacking innocent men. We have to tolerate them in their lewd acts. And then he meets someone on the train who's not going to tolerate that. He meets several people on the train who's not going to tolerate his behavior. And ultimately, it ended in his death, tragically and unfortunately. And now his family has a fucking online fund for him. And what's so interesting about this story, you know what? When there's a lie, there is a lie. If there's a lie, then somebody telling lies. Because I find it very interesting that when I first read this story, they said that he witnessed the death of his sister, not his mother. So which one is it? Was it his sister or was it his mother that he witnessed get murdered? Which one was it? Because the first story that I read, they said it was his sister. Now they're changing it to his mother. Is that to garner more sympathy for this story? And for this person, so you can open up the gateway for people to commit crimes against people and then fall back on, oh, they have mental illness. We don't want to arrest them. We want to put them in a program. And we're not supposed to protect ourselves in the public. We're not supposed to, have protection. We're supposed to just sit back and take whatever other people throw at us. Don't work like that. It just simply doesn't work that way. And the View wants us to have compassion while they live in their gated communities and not have to put up with this type of shit. We, the public, have to put up with this. That Marine did what he was trained to do, which was to protect innocent people. And that's what he was doing on the train. He was protecting innocent people because people were afraid. Now, why he put him in that death chokehold, I don't know. I don't know why he did that. Do I think he did it on purpose? No. Because it would make no sense for him to have done that. I'm saying, now, I'm not looking at it right now. I'm not looking at it from a spiritual or an occult aspect, per se. But I'm thinking more intellectually. It would make no sense for him to have threw his entire life away as a 24, I think he was 24, as a 24-year-old young man, to have thrown his entire life away just to kill some homeless, mentally ill guy on the train. The story sounds sketchy. It sounds sketchy. And how do we even know that this person is even really dead? How do we even know? And what's interesting is, has any of his family members come forward and where we can actually see them speak? Or are we only looking at words on the screen and their alleged words and outrage? But has anyone in his family come forward and actually spoke? Or are they trying to get some actor to come out and play his family now? Is that what we're waiting for? We're waiting for somebody to come out and play his aunt or his cousin or something like that, right? Is that what we're waiting for? Why should we have to keep putting up with dangerous, mentally ill people or dangerous people in general? Because this leads into all of these liberal agendas, which the liberals have a strong, strong spell over the black community. They do. And that's what's keeping a lot of black people broke. They tell you to be happy living in poverty while they live in gated communities. And that goes for the white liberals too. They ain't shit either. They some shit too. Like Janet Yellen and her fucking brother. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to come through and I wanted to say that. Liberals are ghetto, they're ratchet, the black ones and the white ones. They are violent, they're gang members, and when you don't believe in what they believe in, they will ride past your house and shoot at your house or shoot outside your door. These are liberals doing this type of shit to other people. Liberal-minded people. They say that they want to take away the guns, right? But they support violence against other people. Liberals do. They don't think people should do jail time for committing violent crimes. No, just put them on marijuana. Let's open up marijuana dispensaries everywhere. But we ain't gonna let no niggas get no licenses to dispense marijuana. We're gonna only give it to, Asians and Indians. Well, Indians are included with the Asians. We're only gonna give it to Asians, Indians, and white people. They don't even give them to black people, from what I understand. Or if they do, it's very hard for black people to get a license to open up a marijuana dispensary. I believe that's what they call them. No, just keep them high. Keep them high and keep them dreaming. And we'll just keep sucking them dry. We'll keep making laws that will, help, crazy psychotic people to evade being arrested. You can punch people in the nose and punch old ladies in the nose and assault them. We'll just put you in a treatment facility and say that you have mental health problems. Was Jordan Neely really an agent? Is that what this is all about? To push forth another agenda? Was it all staged? I'm just asking questions. I'm not making any, so I don't want anybody saying that, no. I'm just, this is what I do. I'm the occult view. This is what I do. But when we call the police for assistance, they don't help us. They don't help us. They tell us, oh, it's nothing we really can do unless you have proof. You tell somebody that a person or persons rode past your house and shot outside of your house. And you know what the police will say? Well, did you see who it was? No, I did not. Did you see what kind of car they were driving? No, I did not. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. But you want us to have compassion for criminals and drug addicts and people that are committing crimes to harm people, but you want us to have compassion for them. They can do anything they want to us. That's why I say a lot of this shit is by design. They can do anything they want to us, but we can't do nothing back to them. Because it's looked at, don't be surprised if they start saying that, if you do something to a mentally ill person or a drug addict that is causing problems. I'm not talking about drug addicts that mind their business. They're going to start creating laws that say it's a hate crime to do something to a mentally ill person, even if they're doing something to harm you. They're going to start labeling it as a hate crime. And that's going to further neutralize us, spellwork, from being able to respond if our lives are in danger. Do you know it's a lot of motherfuckers that would not be on this earth if it was not for laws? Because a lot of these fucking fucked up ass liberal laws, they protect shit like this. They protect people who harass other people. They protect people who shoot outside of people's homes. They protect people who violate children. Have we forgotten about Pizzagate and Hillary Clinton allegedly? Whoopi Goldberg knows what's going on. That's why they really, really pacify her, because Whoopi knows where all of the dead bodies are. And I'm speaking, metaphorically, but she knows where all of the skeletons are. That is why, see, People been sleeping on Whoopi Goldberg. See, Whoopi Goldberg is the gatekeeper. She knows where all of the skeletons are. That is why, if you notice, Whoopi Goldberg knows everyone. She's been friends with the Bidens for a long time. She's been friends with the Clintons for a long time. She knows everyone in the business, politically and everything else. Just like when they went to the correspondence dinner here in D.C. at the White House a week or so ago. I find it so interesting that all of the members of The View, well, almost all of them, were at the correspondence dinner. And what I find interesting is that how come they don't ever have any average citizens there? Oh, only if they're part of the agenda, like Brittany Griner or whatever her name is. Only if they're part of the agenda, because she was there too, or she was honored there while she was overseas allegedly selling motherfucking drugs. And I know people can get mad all you want, but I'm just pointing out what liberals really support. They support criminals. They support pedophilia. They support bigotry. They definitely support attacks against single mothers and women, especially black women, no matter what they say on the surface. They support the sacrificing of children. They support all of these things. They support criminals, violent criminals. They do all of that shit. Under the misguided guise of compassion. Compassion is what you're supposed to have, and mercy is what you're supposed to have for people in your family, per se, who may have done you wrong, or personal close friends who are like family. Anyway, I just wanted to come through and talk and have a little bit of a conversation because, I think it needs to be said. I think it really needs to be said. We're tired of having to accept people and behaviors that we don't want to accept. I should not have to accept someone that does not align with my energy. They don't. And then if you don't go along with what they want you to do, you're a bigot. You're mean. You're nasty. Well, goddamn it, I'll be all those motherfucking things. That we'll put the nail in the coffin right there. Because I'm a spiritualist and I'm an occultist. And there's no room for emotion in some things. And when something, or when a culture or a society is trying to infiltrate the mind and violate the mind and the rights of other people like they're trying to do, there is no room for emotion or compassion. Because what The View is doing is actually criminal, in my opinion. It is criminal. Maybe not criminal in terms of the human law. I'm talking about spiritual law. It's criminal for them to suggest that we have compassion for people that are violent criminals who are harming people. He ain't in my motherfucking family. And I'm not talking about Jordan Neely, but he's not. I'm talking about anybody in general. He, she, whatever. They not in my family. So why should I waste my time having compassion for them? And don't none of you motherfuckers come through talking about, well, I don't want to hear that shit. You have compassion for them. And if you want to have compassion for them, that's all well, fine, and good. But you cannot tell me that I have to have compassion for them. You're not going to tell me that I have to do a motherfucking thing. That's my whole thing. It's not really about, this is less about Jordan Neely, and it's more about the insanity that we are being forced to feel a certain way about people and things that we don't want to feel that way about. If I don't want to be bothered with certain people, I should not have to be bothered with them. They don't want to be bothered with them. They live in gated communities. But they're telling us that we have to tolerate that shit. They talk about illegal immigrants all the time, and none of them have lifted a finger to do anything for illegal immigrants. What have they done? Nothing. But they're telling us that we should just open up the borders and open up our cities for just anybody. And no disrespect to the Latino community. I'm not picking on you. I'm just making a point. Same thing with the Ukrainians. Now, I'm going to say something about them racist motherfuckers because I believe Vladimir Putin when he says a lot of them are Nazis. Have you seen Zelensky, the president? He has a mean, evil, nasty energy with him. His face is always looking mean and nasty. He looks like an old racist Nazi. And guess what? He was an actor at one time. No wonder the U.S. government likes him so much. We're tired of that. No, I don't want to accept them. I don't want to accept the Ukrainians. No, I don't. I don't want to accept them. They don't accept me, so why the fuck should I accept them? What's wrong with me saying I don't accept people who don't accept me? What is wrong with me saying that? It doesn't matter what your race is. I'm only making references to their racism because of what I've heard. But it doesn't matter what your race is. There are other black people that I don't want to accept. Just because you're black does not mean I'm going to accept you. I ain't your brother. And you ain't my sister. I don't know you. I don't fucking know you like that. And the same motherfuckers that'll call you brother and sister are the same motherfuckers that'll pull up outside your house and shoot a round of bullets outside your motherfucking house to terrorize, to cause harm, to cause emotional trauma. And these are the people that you want me to look up to? These are the people you want us to look up to? Anyway, this is the occult view. Just giving my view. Go and take your vitamin B12 and your vitamin D. Anyway, that's really all I have to say for today. Thank you.